Leafs Nation. Sometimes the grass really isn't greener on the other side. A player leaves Toronto, gets a fresh start, gets a bigger opportunity somewhere else. And now, just a few months later, he's already back on the trade block. This is one of those stories that makes you stop and think about roster decisions, player roles, and how thin the line really is between fit and failure in the NHL. Before we break it all down, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button if you follow everything Maple Leafs related, and subscribe to Leafs Nation Report. This channel is brand new, and we're pushing hard to reach 300 subscribers. If you subscribe, you're officially part of this Leafs Nation community from day one. All right, let's talk about a very familiar name, a familiar face. Back in trouble earlier this season, the Maple Leafs officially closed the book on their saga with David Kampf, terminating his contract by mutual agreement. No drama, no hard feelings, just a clean break. Kampf quickly signed a one-year deal with the Vancouver Canucks, who were absolutely desperate for help down the middle after a brutal run of injuries. At the time, it made sense. Veteran center, defensive responsibility, penalty kill experience. On paper, this looked like a perfect fit, but hockey isn't played on paper. The numbers don't lie. So far this season in Vancouver, the results have been rough. In 23 games, Kampf has 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points total, a -6 rating. And here's the part that really tells the story. Despite being pushed into the top 6 due to injuries, he failed to take advantage of the opportunity. Instead of earning more responsibility, his ice time has actually gone down. That's not what Vancouver signed up for. The Toronto return that said it all. Last weekend, Kampf returned to Toronto. And if you blinked, you probably missed his impact. He played 13 minutes and 22 seconds across 19 shifts. Recorded just 1 shot on goal. It was a quiet night, a forgettable night. And for a player trying to prove his value to a new team, that's the worst thing you can be. Back on the trade block. According to the 4th period, Kampf is now officially available on the trade market. He's listed among Vancouver forwards on expiring contracts that the Canucks are willing to move, alongside names like Evander Kane, Teddy Bluger. That tells you everything. Vancouver would love to get anything back for Kampf before he walks as a UFA this summer. But here's the reality. That might be a tall order. Why this shouldn't shock Leafs fans. As Leafs fans, we know exactly what David Kampf is. He's not a scorer. He's not a play driver. He's a role player. When he's used properly, bottom 6, defensive matchups, penalty kill, he can help you. But when you ask him to be more than that, the results just aren't there. And that's exactly what happened in Vancouver. The trade deadline timeline. The timing here is important. The NHL trade deadline is March 6. The Olympic roster freeze lifts on February 22nd. That gives teams roughly 2 weeks to make moves before the deadline pressure ramps up. If Kampf isn't moved before the Olympics, chances are he becomes a last-minute depth option at the deadline. If he's moved at all. Could Toronto be interested? Now, here's where it gets interesting for Leafs Nation. Toronto is still looking to add depth for a playoff push. Another bottom 6 forward? That's not impossible. But let's be honest, this wouldn't be a reunion story. This wouldn't be a headline move. If Toronto adds depth, it has to be cheap, flexible, and clearly defined in role. And that's something the Leafs front office will weigh very carefully. My honest fan take. As a diehard Leafs fan, here's my truth. Letting Kampf go was the right decision. And what we're seeing now only confirms that. Not every player thrives outside of Toronto, and not every fresh start works out. This is a reminder that fit matters just as much as talent in today's NHL. Leafs Nation, your turn. I want to hear from you. Were the Leafs right to move on from Kampf? Would you bring him back as cheap depth? Yes or no? What kind of depth forward should Toronto target instead? Drop your takes in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. It helps this channel grow more than you know. And subscribe to Leafs Nation Report. We're pushing for 300 subscribers, and every single one matters on a brand new channel. I'm Victor. I bleed blue and white. And Leafs Nation, the trade deadline is getting closer. See you in the next one.